Okay, so we are live. So I am really excited here today to have Nancy. She is a teacher at Allschool, and she's going to be talking to us a little bit about Outschool. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat, and we will have Nancy answer them for us. So Nancy, first of all, how long have you been working with Outschool?
So, with Outschool or Allschool?
Allschool. I'm sorry.
I know it's confusing because I actually teach with both, and so it's kind of confusing. I've been with Allschool since like the very, very beginning. So they like before they launched and everything in the fall. I first saw one of the people, one of the founders on one of like the Facebook pages. Like you have your page, there's so many of those ESL pages out there, and so he was just looking for teachers. This was after the whole Chinese crash, and everybody was frantically looking for something else, and I was one of those. And so yeah, so I just saw this comment, hey, looking for these teachers, so I just said, hey, I'm interested. I'd love some more information. And so I just started getting more information. I started communicating with with the people. At the time, it was just a small team, and then kind of helped them do some editing work and do a few things with figuring out how their referral program should work or how their platform should look, and all that. So I think I was trying to look at dates before we got here. I don't remember exactly, but I want to say like I started the process in September, and
Okay.
then we finally launched a trial basis. There was like 5 or 6 maybe of us pilot teachers that first started off. I want to say maybe in October. So I've been doing it since then, and it's
So
been
you were
fun
one
to
of the
watch.
first, you were one of
Yeah,
the first five
yeah,
teachers.
yes, I
That's
was.
cool.
And so it's been really fun to watch the company build from the ground up. I've never been able to do that before. Yeah, so
That
it's
is
been really cool.
really cool. Okay, so let's get the basics out of the way. I know that you told me
Okay,
this in an email, but not everybody that's watching is going to be on my email list.
sure.
So, um, who can apply to Allschool?
Okay, so they're looking for native English speakers from the US, Canada, the UK, Australia, New Zealand, or Ireland. Um,
Okay.
so anyone from those companies, and I've had a lot of people reach out to me from other countries, and I feel bad because they seem like amazing teachers, and I've had to tell them, maybe hopefully they'll expand that in the future, as they are looking to eventually um, be worldwide, so that would be amazing. Right now they're having to just kind of focus, as can be understood, they're having to kind of niche down and then grow from there. um, but anyone from those countries, you don't have to have a teaching certificate or a bachelor's degree, but you do have to have at least 1 year's experience working with children or teaching of some format. um,
Does homeschool teachers, does that count as, like, if you're a
that's a
homeschool
good question.
teacher?
I could find out for sure, but I would think so. um,
Okay.
for sure.
And you said that they hire native English speakers from those countries. So is it only English that they're teaching?
So correct. Most of their classes are English. Um, Now, okay, so let me kind of backtrack on the company where they were trying to head. When they first started out, their idea was to have kind of two streams of classes, where one was going to be user generated, basically like Outschool, kind of like an Outschool copycat, like you said. Teachers come on, they create their own classes, they teach whatever. But then they also wanted to have another avenue where the company was going to create classes and offer that for teachers to teach. And they are teaching some of those in the Asian countries. So those are in Chinese or other um, languages right now, kind of marketed to those students. Um, but as far as everything that is being taught here, I have seen a couple of other language, like um, I don't remember exactly. It may have been a Spanish class or something. So you can get on there and teach a language, if you want to, but they want your language to be English.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
because a
So
lot of people, a lot of these students are coming, not that, so for instance, some of my classes are not marketed as ESL classes, but a lot of the students that I'm getting, that's kind of what they're coming for. I teach basic like preschool classes, so it's kind of good for like a beginner ESL student. Um, so some of these parents kind of are still looking for that. Um, so I think they're kind of wanting some of that too, but it
right.
doesn't have to be like specifically ESL.
All right. Right. Okay. I'm going to go to this question. Then I got a
Okay.
question for you here. So Deb says, does it matter where we live? I read somewhere it's like Outschool and it matters. I am from Ireland, live in Ireland and teaching since 1998. Deb, she just answered this probably before you popped on. And Ireland is one of the countries that is accepted.
Yes, yes. I do want to add to that though, because I had someone reach out and say, hey, like I'm from, I don't remember, maybe she was from the UK, but like living in Africa right now or something. So I reached out and asked them, I said, what do you mean by from, versus like, are you living in, or you have to be a citizen? They said, as long as you're eligible to work in that country. So like if you're not from that country, but you're living it and you have paperwork to prove that you're eligible to work,
Oh.
um, then you should be able to apply.
Okay, that's
So,
really helpful because Outschool is not like that. So that is
okay,
different. So
okay,
a lot of teachers um, have like dual citizen. I don't know. I'm not even exactly sure
right,
how it works exactly, but they might
right,
be living in another country,
right, yeah,
but they still pay like US taxes.
right,
And they're eligible to work in the US.
right,
But with Outschool, they would not be able to apply for Outschool because they don't have a
okay,
residence in
okay.
the United States.
So
So
maybe that could be a
Allschool would
heads
be a
up for
good,
this one. Yeah,
yeah, Allschool
um,
would be a good alternative for them then.
for sure.
All right. And Deb said, thank you for answering your question.
You're welcome.
So the other question that I have here is you said the kids courses with the that you said that they're marketing. Is there like some sort of pre-made curriculum course option?
Okay, so that's what I was touching on a minute ago. There's
Mhm.
not. They've been working hard for months now, trying to build their own curriculum, and offer that because they understand that some teachers are used to logging in and teaching and they might not have the time or the effort or the know-how of how to sit down and create a curriculum, and so they were really trying to offer that, but they kept coming into too many, what we were told was legal issues and loopholes, and they just kind of had to call it quits for now. They've said indefinitely this is not going to be offered. It's
Okay, was that
possible
the
that
email that they had sent out a little bit ago? I had seen
they
something
did.
that,
It was just a couple weeks
okay.
ago, I think I got that. So that's a recent um, announcement because that's been the plan, and there have been a lot of teachers that signed up specifically to do that, and we're kind of waiting and just waiting on the wait list, and so they were really disappointed. Allschool had offered them, the teachers that already signed up, that wouldn't apply now, um, some kind of incentive to help them try to build their own curriculum, excuse me, to try and help them out, because that was kind of a kink in the game when all these teachers were waiting to do that, but no,
Yeah.
going forward you have to be able to create your own curriculum, or I mean
Okay.
they're okay with you bringing outside sources as long as you have full permission and you take care of the legal side of it and everything. They're not doing that for you. You have to make sure
Right.
you're covering yourself, like Outschool kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. What are the ages of the students?
So right now, from the beginning, they were targeting really young, so like 3 to 8. They're starting to increase that, but they're not marketing to adults. So I think they're saying 3 to 18. Um,
Okay.
I don't think that many classes are even geared that high yet. Um, I would think more up until 12ish. But again, as it grows, they've just added layers and layers. So eventually, it will be more. I don't
So
know.
if you
I don't.
go in there and you make classes for the older students to be
Mhm,
ready for when that comes, like you'll be one of the
right.
only teachers that has
You very well could.
that.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. Where are your students located?
Mine are mostly in Singapore right now, or Singapore, or I still have some in mainland China. Um, but yeah, that's kind of where I'm teaching. I honestly haven't opened any later slots right now, just because the early morning is kind of working for me for this, and then I'm doing my daytime without school. Um, so I haven't tried. But right now I'm still booking the early morning U.S. hours, which correlate with the China and Singapore hours
Okay.
with them. So I've heard of a couple of teachers that have booked a couple of classes, more daytime U.S. hours. I just haven't tried it myself yet.
Okay. All right. So it's right now that's where they have their marketing efforts is
Right. So
in
marketing
the
has definitely, because they're Singapore based. So they definitely started their marketing there, but I've seen a couple of campaigns. They have started to market more to the US. Um, but I think because, I mean, all of the staff is still located in Singapore. And so, that's kind of where their people, their group has
Okay.
been, but yeah, it's definitely, they're hoping to grow more and more. And so eventually I would love to switch, all my daytime hours to Allschool as well. I like
Yeah.
I like Outschool. I'm trying to make sure I don't say the wrong name. I mean, I love Outschool too, but there are a lot of perks to Allschool that I'm really enjoying.
Okay. So for anyone that's familiar with Outschool, the way Outschool works is you set your classes, you make your curriculum, you set your prices, the ages of the students, the numbers of the
Mhm.
students. Is that all the same?
That's all the same. Yes.
Okay. What about when you log on? Is it the same thing with like as it is with Outschool where you're going to go into a Zoom room, you click a button, you enter into a Zoom room?
Okay. It is very similar. So you still have to go onto the platform, like on Outschool. You still have to log into your Outschool profile, right, and then click Start Live Class. They offer two options. So you can teach with Zoom, but they also have this other teaching platform called ClassPod. And
Okay.
so I've been using that, and I really like that. It's more for those who are more familiar with some of the ESL teaching platforms, VIP Kid, Magic Years, all of those. Um, this one would be kind of similar to that. They can earn stars, for which is one thing which I love. With Zoom, you can do a reward, but it has to be something that you're doing. It's not interactive. So with ClassPad, you can interactively earn them stars. Excuse me, I have to cough. I'm still getting over that cold, but I'm much better. Um, and so it's just, I don't. So you can actually upload if you teach with slides or anything like that, you can pre-upload them, and so it works like a slideshow. Um, where on Zoom you would just screen share. Um, I'm trying to think of what else. I mean,
Does ClassPod have a, I'm not familiar with ClassPod. Do they
mhm.
have a joint co-browsing feature? Do you know what that means?
Can you clarify? I think I'm
Okay. So on Zoom, okay, say I had interactive slides
mhm,
and I wanted the students to click something. In order for them to do that, they would have to be given remote access of my computer, right?
mhm,
Whereas something with like Koala, which is it's not a platform that you could teach on, it's like a Zoom like thing.
mhm.
The students have access to the clicking on things the same time that you do.
Sure.
Does ClassPod have that, or can the students
So
not click things?
what they can do right now, they don't have full authority, or um, you can give them authority to a pen, which is something that I suggested way back when, because I love being able to do that with my other students. They need to be able to write it, and it just makes it more fun. So they
Mhm.
can write on the screen. As far as screen sharing, they can't do that yet. Like, you can screen share within the classroom as well as upload your slides. They don't have authority to do anything with it right now. That should be in the works. They are trying to make it more interactive and kind of increase some of those features. Right now, though, if you wanted to do an interactive game, I would like the teacher would just have to do it. Like, you could get
Okay.
on there and just ask the students which one, and then you could click it and that
Right.
kind of thing. Yeah.
Right.
But
Right. Okay.
but
That's what I
but
was
they're
wondering.
trying to increase more and more, because at first you couldn't even upload sounds and videos and that kind of thing, and so they've been slowly increasing what's allowed and operating.
And it sounds like they are very fast. They're quick at making these changes that
They
they've
are.
only been here. Okay, I
They
like
are.
that.
They are working their
Now,
butts off. Yeah.
these are one-on-one or group classes, or can you do both?
However you want. Yeah.
However
You
you want.
choose.
So it's
They have
literally like Outschool.
Yeah, yeah, you can choose. They have highly encouraged us to put our minimum at 1. A lot of teachers hesitate to do that because you don't make a whole lot off of 1, but they're encouraging you to do that just to build your clientele.
Well, I recommend to do that even on Outschool. So on
Yeah,
Outschool, usually it'll say like minimum of 3 is
right,
usually like what it's automatically set at.
right,
Even if I were working at Outschool, if I were to put the minimum at 3, I would still teach only if I had 1
yeah,
student. And
right,
the reason for that is because that 1 student, I've had it before where I was only teaching that same student in a class
mhm,
of 9
mhm,
for, like 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
mhm,
And yes, I was only making like, I don't know, like what, like $5, $6 an hour.
right,
Not even like
right,
$3 an hour or something like that for 1 student. But what ends up happening is you build that relationship with the student. They leave you a review.
right,
If they are more likely to leave you a review if they feel like you're going out of their way for them, and then that's going to help
right,
boost you in the
right,
algorithm for the
mhm,
whatever company you're using. But I've also had it so many times where it's like, I feel bad that you're teaching for this low. Let me invite some friends. And the next thing you know, they invite 3 or 4 more people. So for
nice,
me,
yeah,
it has always been worth it. And I've always seen really, really, really good results by
yeah,
giving every student that comes in,
right,
treating them the exact same, whether,
right,
they're a class of 1 or a class
mhm,
of 9.
right. Yeah, I think
So
so. I've seen that for sure. And yeah, sometimes you get your favorite, the best student. Like, even if it's just the one, it becomes a great relationship, and like you said, and then it can build from there. But yeah, I know a
yeah.
lot of people are hesitant to do that because of the money stuff, but definitely they're encouraging that, and I'm seeing the impact of it as well. So,
Yeah, it does. It does. It makes a huge difference because
mhm,
then those students will also, like, they become your biggest fans. They
right,
recommend you.
right,
They'll refer other students to you. They'll enroll in all your classes. They'll
right,
be with you for like a year or
right.
more,
Yeah,
like 2, 3 years. Like,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, because they just appreciate that that you did that for them.
right.
They want
Yeah.
to take this class and
Yeah,
you
they
made that
know if this is supposed to be a group class and you're just teaching their child, like, yeah, they know that you're
happen.
going and putting in the
Yeah.
effort for that, for sure.
Right, right, and it does, it makes a huge difference.
Mhm.
Um, so how are your bookings? I know that they're new, but
They are.
how are your
Um,
bookings?
my bookings have been pretty good. To be honest, I've slowed down just because I'm big and pregnant and I just got over a cold and, life is kind of taking over right now. Um, but other than that, they're booking well.
But your
I
bookings
have
have
seen
slowed down your
I have
choice.
seen correct. Now, I will say that I have seen a little bit of a decrease with the increase of teachers, which is to be expected, but it hasn't been terrible. Like you said, I've already built my little fan club. My little regulars that love me, and they come in and take my various classes, and then I have a couple that, like I was saying earlier, that kind of work. And actually, Allschool has kind of marketed as an ESL class, so I've had a lot of students come in there to start with that, and then um, what I like about, and actually I think Outschool does this too. I just honestly don't use this feature, but I have been using it on Allschool, is where you can, if they take a class, you can recommend your next class to them. And so, like, hey, so and so did a great job today. You know, I loved having your class. And then at the bottom is class recommendations. So you can literally click on the class that you are suggesting to them, and that makes it easy for them. They can be like, oh, we like that. Sure, I'll sign up for this. Instead of them having to go search for your classes and stuff. So that definitely helps too. With
Okay, yeah, Outschools is a
yeah,
little bit different.
okay.
You set it up on your profile,
Mhm.
so it will be like, okay, when you're setting up the class, it'll be like next recommended class, and then what it
Oh, right,
does is
right, right. Yeah.
it takes that class and it puts it basically in their newsfeed when they log
Okay.
on. Like,
Okay.
so it's a little bit different.
I
So
got you.
are these in like after class reports? Are there after class reports that you do?
These are little evaluations. Now these are um, optional. They're not necessary.
Okay.
With like Magic Cures and some of those things, I know you have to give their little feedback at the end. Yes, but this is, you can, give them their little stars if they, their 5-star rating or whatever, and I just give a little spiel about the class and what we
I like
learned,
that.
and then right, and then in that little screen, you can just click on the class that you would recommend for them. Yeah, I guess see you next time. Just
really
kind of,
like
yeah,
that because it's just really quick. So Outschool does not, for anyone that's familiar with Outschool
right,
does not, you would have to
right,
go into everyone and leave them
right,
a
and send them a
message.
message. Yeah.
But with being able to do a review plus
Hmm.
recommend a class like
Hmm.
that, it's not only going to increase your bookings, but it's
Right,
also going to increase your retention because you're going to be building that relationship with students
right,
with every single class review.
right.
And if you're giving them a review, they're probably more likely to give you a review on your
I was going to
classes
say
as
I have
well.
gotten way more reviews on Allschool just in a timely manner, and I think that sorry, Allschool is has been doing I believe they still are, a promotion where if a parent leaves a review, they get 30% off their next class. So they're really pushing the reviews for teachers to try to get those amped up.
That's
So that's been
awesome.
helping. Yeah.
Outschool offers teachers a referral code for the parents where the parents get a free lesson. Does Allschool have anything like that? Where you can refer a parent and they get a discount or a freebie or anything, a credit.
I'll have to check on that. I don't remember. I know for a while they were doing well, I'm trying to remember if it was Outschool or Allschool. Like they got a $20 credit. Maybe that was Outschool. That
Outschool
was
did that. They
Outschool.
still
Okay.
do that. Yeah,
Okay.
they still do that.
I'll have to check on that. I'm not sure. I know they get the 30%, for doing a review. Um, Now, if you refer a learner, you get $3. So it's not as big. Yeah, but I can look into that.
Yeah. But even though they have the students, or even though the teacher base is growing, so maybe it's like the bookings are a little bit lower than they were a couple of weeks ago, that's a good thing because that, like you already said, that they're going for an international push. So they need to get their teacher base
Right,
up. So when they
right,
do their marketing in these other countries,
right.
it's not like, okay, we've got like 10 teachers here that you can
Right.
book with, and they're fully
Yeah.
booked and their marketing efforts are null and void because they have no
Right.
teachers with
Right.
availability open.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and
that's
then
good.
wanting more of a variety of classes too, you
Yeah.
know?
And
Yeah.
I am a lot of companies that start up, they don't have this marketing plan in
Mhm,
place, like a successful marketing plan. They don't get a lot of the things done that they say they're going to get
mhm.
done, or, so like it looks like, or it sounds like they really have their ducks in a row here, and they are working hard to
Yeah,
reach what they're trying to. Okay, I like that.
yeah, I'm
Um,
very impressed.
Yes. So Deb says she needs to do the demo video. She wants to know what is expected. Do I need to screen record something on Zoom or class and with slides, or just use props and teach the topics with no slides to my camera?
So it's completely up to you. Um, it's not required to use slides. If you are more comfortable not, and you just would prefer to teach to the camera and use your props, you can absolutely do that. Um, yeah, you'll need to record it somehow. You can record it on Zoom or on your webcam or however, and then upload it. I know when I was doing it months ago, and for a while that was still an issue. I would imagine it was still a thing. Is you need to make sure that it's set to public because they can't. They were having an issue viewing everybody's demo videos because they were set to private or something.
Okay, so it sounds like you're uploading them to YouTube.
Yeah, so you could definitely. So some people were
So you
doing
could
that.
you could also do it as an unlisted though. So when you're putting it
Yeah.
to when you're putting it to YouTube, if you are just sharing the link, as long as you put it as unlisted, they'll have access to be able
Okay.
to watch it.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
if you have a YouTube where it's like about your family and cooking, and you don't want anything out school or all school there. See, I do it too. You
Right.
don't
Yeah.
want anything from like online teaching on there. You can set it as unlisted, and then that way they can't
Okay.
other people can't see it.
Yeah.
So can we talk about the application process? What does
Sure.
that look like?
Okay. So it's pretty basic. It's pretty simple. There's only a few steps. So you're gonna apply. You're gonna click on the link. Apply. So, okay, when you first click on the link, it's kind of confusing because it's going to ask you for so the very first thing that you put on the screen is your email. And after that, I believe it says verification code. So people are like, okay, where do I get this code? Literally, once you type your email address into the thing, it's going to email you. You don't click submit or anything yet. Like just put your email in there and then check your email and it'll have sent you a code. And I think
Oh, okay.
a couple minutes you have like 2 minutes or whatever, the time frame is to put it in, set your password or whatever the questions are. And then that will log you in. So a lot of people are stuck. Where's the code? Like, just check your email, but check it quickly within the next, once you put your email in, check it quickly within the next minute or so. It'll be in there, and then you can move forward. And then you do your application, input all your information and everything. I did ask about timeframes because I know some people were wondering about that. They said that should take about 2 days or less, 2 business days or less to approve your application. If you're going to get through, and at that point, that's where they're going to say if you're eligible to teach based on where you live and all that kind of thing. So you can at least try, if you want to. And then, so that'll take a couple days. Then you do your demo video, and that's kind of based on you. It depends on how long you're going to take to make your video. But once you submit it, it should take, again, two or less business days. They said less than 2 business days. I would give it a couple just to make sure.
What are the requirements? What are the requirements for
the demo video? Really is 5 to 8 minutes, and they're really just looking for how you teach, your personality, what you bring to the classroom, like you would with many things. Pretend like there's a student, they're not looking for you to introduce yourself. It's more about how you teach. So pretend like you're teaching your class, a typical class that you would teach. You can go on and teach whatever classes, but I would do something that you're comfortable with.
Do you have to create the class listing like you do with the Outschool process?
Yes, you do.
Okay, so you're going to write a class listing is what
Right.
the class is about, what you're teaching,
Right.
and then record a 5 to 8 minute demo video.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're not gonna make a class listing for your demo though.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
No.
I'm still talking about the application process. Okay. So it's easier.
So,
it's easier than Outschool.
So you're just gonna literally make your little video, send it in. That, again, a couple days, and then you move on to your background check. And they said that's kind of out of our hands because we don't, that's third party. So anywhere from 1 to 15 days. Mine, I think, was a day or half a day. Like, it came through.
Do they use Checker?
Oh, what is it called? No, it started with an S. I don't remember.
Okay. I feel like I know what you're talking about, but I can't think of it.
Quick. But
it's okay.
But no, yeah. So mine came through really quickly. A lot of teachers have, they said to give it up to 15 days for that and all the ID, verification and everything. And then you're good to go. Once you've passed that, then you go on, like you were saying, you actually make your course listing and all that.
Do you submit them for approval, or
they do have to be approved? Yes.
Okay. How quickly are they approved usually?
That can vary. Again, a couple days, a day or two. When I was doing it, it was quick because there's just a few of us. But yeah, so 2 to 3 days. I wouldn't expect to be able to just teach it right away. Like, don't plan to try to teach for tomorrow. It could happen, but I wouldn't bank on it because they do have a lot coming in, especially right now. So, but it shouldn't take too long. And then once that's in, so you set your course, and then kind of like on Outschool, where you would make your section. With Allschool, you have your course, and then you can create what classes and what times and everything for that.
Okay, so Outschool has different options where they have the ability to teach one-time classes, like multi-day. So maybe for summer camps where it's these days in this time frame, the ongoing classes. What options does Allschool have?
They actually have all 3 of those now. At first, they were just doing the one-time and the multi-class. Within the last month or so, might have been 2 months now, they've released the it's probably been a couple months now. They've released the ongoing, which I was excited. So I'm doing my circle times and things like that with that now. The only thing they don't have that Outschool has is the flex class.
I don't recommend the flex classes anyways.
Yeah,
I honestly, from my experience with the flex classes, they can be you can be successful with them, but if you're going to be doing flex classes and advertising yourself, because that's how most teachers get their flex classes and rents, you might as well do it independently if you have to do that much advertising. That's just my own personal opinion, but what works for you works for you. Okay, so Katie is here. Hi, Katie, and she says we're. Oh wait, hold on a second. I went to the Wrong one. Okay. She says, does Allschool have the option for agencies or companies to register like Outschool does?
That's a good question. I know that they were talking about something. I'm not real familiar with that. So I could find out if that's something that we want to know, and then send it to Jillian. But that's a good question. They're not as large, so it's not like on Outschool where a whole school would sign up and offer classes to each of their teachers or whatever. But I think that's kind of in the plan, or the idea hat. I just don't think that it's really up and running right now.
Right. Okay. Because but it sounds like they've got a lot of things like going pretty quickly.
Yeah,
What about if you were using a platform like Teach with Koala, which I don't think you're familiar with, right?
I'm not. No.
It's basically like think like a Zoom or a class in.
Okay.
Okay. Can you offer your classes on another place like that, or do you have to use one of the tools that they have?
You have to use one of theirs.
Okay,
Yeah.
I figured as much. What about payments? How much do they take, and when are you paid?
Okay. So, like Outschool, you'll set your own fee per student, per class, all that. Right now, through the end of June, they're doing a promotional thing where they're taking 15%. So for those who don't know, Outschool takes 30.
Mhm.
I believe, yeah. They're doing 15 through June. They have said that it's going to increase after that, just because they can't really sustain for too long. But they want to increase. I mean, they want to offer that to their teachers. But then it is going to increase after June. They haven't decided exactly how much, but they are trying to be, I think, competitive to Outschool. So they have said it'll be no more than 30. I think they're trying to get it less than 30%. But they haven't announced that yet. I think they're supposed to announce it sometime in April, is the last I heard.
Okay.
So,
And how often do they pay you?
and how often you're paid weekly? And I think it's like you're paid the Tuesday after the last week. So like if I teach Monday through Friday, I'm not going to be paid the following Tuesday, but I'll be paid the week after.
Okay.
Like a
Okay.
week. It
So
takes a
it's
week for them to do the paperwork
okay.
and all
So
that stuff. Yeah.
Tuesdays are your paydays then.
Yes.
Oh, like okay. And how do they pay you?
So through my bank. So I know a lot of
Okay,
people
so
were
no PayPal fees.
right. I know a
Okay.
lot of people were hesitant, and I'll be honest. I mean, I was cautious, just making sure you're sharing your bank information with these people. If you don't know these people, but I've had no issues. It's been great. They sent it right through. There was a little issue with like trying to get my bank connected because I'm with a credit union, so they're a little smaller. Um, so trying to get them connected to an overseas company, but it didn't take too long. It was pretty easy.
Okay. What about like talking about the native
I will
English
say,
speakers?
let me add on that. They are talking about using PayPal as an option in the future. Um,
Okay.
they just haven't set that up, but right as of now, it's just the bank, and I think the bank will continue to be an option as well.
Okay. Um, the non-native English speakers. Okay. What if you are like you were born and spent half of your life in like South America? Okay. So you're not technically a native English speaker, but you live in America now. Are you eligible to be hired there?
I mean, I would think so, as long as your English is very clear, um,
Okay.
and right, and you're eligible to teach there. Again, I can ask to make sure. I don't want to tell you anything wrong. Um, but what I was told, because I asked, again, what does it mean if you have to be from? Do you have to live there, be a citizen? They say you have to be able to prove that you're able to teach there. But right, I didn't ask about the whole non-native English thing. Because right, like I
Okay.
said, yeah, somebody could be born somewhere but still have very
Mhm.
fluent English. Um, so that's a good question. I'll shoot them a message and ask them about that.
Okay. So it's basically like what it sounds like though is they're looking for people that live in these countries or are eligible to work in these countries. And
Mhm.
when you apply, they're probably just going to be like checking your English during your video to make sure. I mean, it's kind
Right.
of what it sounds like
Right.
to make
Yeah.
sure that
Yeah.
okay. Um, let's see. Deb says money straight to the bank account is always a plus. Yeah, I like that because there's no PayPal fees. I like
Right.
that.
Yes. Yes.
Just put it in my pocket. Okay. Does anybody else have any questions? Or actually, while anybody else is thinking about questions, you said that you want to start switching to Allschool over Outschool because Allschool has some perks that Outschool does not. Can you talk about those perks? What do you like about Allschool?
Well, for one, I mean, the percentage is lower, so I'm going to make more money. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I really do like the class pod option. I mean, I like Zoom just fine. I mean, and the longer I've used Zoom, I've gotten used to it, So I was actually booking more on Allschool than I was on Outschool for a while. I just, this semester, I started teaching a class on Outschool again. So I was actually more familiar with Allschool at first. So it's like, I don't like Zoom, but I mean, it's fine. But it does make a difference when the kids can be more interactive and they love I teach the little ones. So I mean the older students might not care, but like they love the little stars, because it comes through as a zhoo, zhoo, bing kind of thing on
Mm-hmm.
their screen. Um and the the staff communication has been like phenomenal. Like I know I've seen a lot of people, which is understandable, kind of weary about all school online and stuff, but you have to understand that they're a brand new startup. They've only been open for a few months, but like they are literally working their butts off round the clock, um, and like taking our suggestions. There have been some language barriers. Like most of them speak very well, very fluent English, but sometimes there's a little grammatical error or there's something, and so like if they in the beginning they were asking me, hey, can you proofread this? So I would do that, or any little thing that so we use an app called Ding Talk.
Okay. Yep. Ding
Kinda
Talk is
like
just it
chat
is
or
a communication
right.
thing. It's like
Yeah,
WhatsApp
right.
for China, for
Yeah,
anyone that's not familiar
yeah.
with it.
So we use that, and like I literally communicate with the higher ups if I need to,
That's
so
awesome.
which is really nice,
It
and they're so
that's
receptive.
especially nice.
Mhm.
That's especially nice
Yeah.
because that is the one complaint that I have about Outschool
Mhm.
is
Yeah.
that they've gotten so big and their staff are not on the same page at all.
Right.
So
Right.
their
Yeah, and
their
it's hard to get an answer
communication.
question. I mean, a question answered. Yeah, right away.
It is
So
like for the daycare got shut down
mhm,
in January for my
mhm,
daughter twice. So two times she had a
yeah,
10-day quarantine because of
yeah,
COVID cases. So
mhm,
20 days out of January, and I'm not working with a 3-year-old running around. You know how it is. You're a
right,
mom.
right,
So I'm a single mom. So I had like messaged Outschool and told them about all this, had to cancel my classes. The,
yeah,
the way to cancel classes with Outschool is very difficult because you have to go and individually cancel each one and refund each
mhm,
one. And it
yeah,
takes forever if you have 300 students a week.
right,
Um, so then eventually they were like, sometime in like February, they messaged me and they're like, oh, well, we're putting it on your like employee record that you canceled a lot of classes. And I'm like, I talked to you about this. And they're like, oh, okay, well, it won't be a problem. And then like later on, they're like, so we just wanted to reach out to you and let you know that you canceled a lot of classes. Like I've talked to you about this multiple
right,
times,
right,
and it's the same, like it's kind of like they have too many like lines of communications, places that they
right,
communicate,
right.
even teacher to student or teacher to parent. So I like that Allschool has good
Yeah,
communication
yeah.
because it's
Yeah,
definitely
they've
a
been really
plus.
awesome. So I've had to cancel some classes. Like I had to, reschedule this video last week. I had to cancel my classes because I just couldn't teach. Um, so they have the right that like on Outschool, they have the little help desk where you can send a message there. But then I also have my people on Ding Talk. I'm like, hey, you know,
Yeah.
and and they, before I've even like communicated with them, they've gotten the message. Like my little guy who's been so sweet and helped me. He reached out to me this morning and he was like, "Hey Nancy, I saw that you canceled some classes because you weren't feeling good last week. I hope that you're feeling better, and let me know if there's anything I can do to help you." Or, so it's very
Aw,
personable and it's very sweet, and so like they are obviously getting the messages, you know, where the opposite of what you went through, but yeah,
right.
the information is input in there, and they help they helped to reach out to the parents. I gave them my reason. They were very understanding. um, they reached out to the parents. I still had to go on, depending on what kind of class it is. If it's an ongoing class, you have to go and refund them. If it's not, it's taken care of. You just have the class canceled and the parents refunded, and it's taken care of that way. But yeah,
That's awesome.
it's been
That's
very
awesome.
personable, and it's been awesome. Yeah.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
All right. So nobody else has any questions. We're going to wrap this up here. I have a call with a teacher in a couple of minutes.
Okay. Yeah.
If anybody is, say that again.
I said, yeah, I have to go to. I have a class at 11.
Yeah. So if anybody is interested in applying, the link is in the description box, and you can always head over to the online ESL Teacher Success and Support group. Tag Nancy there. Leave a comment about Allschool. She'll be sure to like jump on it and answer your questions if you have any questions following this, or leave them in the comments, and I will reach out to Nancy and let her know about them. Thank you guys for coming on. Thank you, Nancy, for
Thank
coming
you so much
on,
for having
and
me.
I will see you guys all later. All right.
All right.
Thank
Okay.
you for sharing. All
All
right.
right.
Bye, guys.